Have you ever found yourself trying to force something to happen, pushing against obstacles, only to feel drained and frustrated? What if I told you that there's a wiser, more peaceful way to approach life? In today's video, we're going to explore how forcing things can actually lead to stress, suffering, and dissatisfaction. Instead of trying to control every outcome, Buddhist philosophy teaches us to embrace the natural flow of life. When we push too hard, we're often met with resistance, both externally and internally. This can lead to unnecessary struggles and a feeling of being out of sync with life's rhythm. But Buddhism offers a path of ease and harmony, guiding us to let go of the need to force and instead trust in the process of life. We'll dive into 5 key lessons from Buddhism that show us how to avoid forcing anything in our lives. These teachings not only bring peace, but also allow us to live more fully, in tune with the natural progression of life. So, let's embark on this journey together and discover how to let go and live with greater ease and fulfillment. Number 1. Understand the law of impermanence. In Buddhism, one of the core teachings is anicca, or the law of impermanence. This principle suggests that everything in life, our thoughts, emotions, relationships, and even our physical surroundings, is constantly changing. Nothing remains the same forever. By understanding and accepting this, we can develop a healthier approach to life, one that is less focused on forcing things to stay the same or trying to control outcomes. Instead, we learn to flow with the natural ebb and flow of existence. Recognizing the impermanent nature of life can help us avoid the frustration and stress that comes from trying to force situations. Often we struggle because we're attached to a particular outcome, or we resist change, hoping to keep things exactly as they are. This resistance creates tension and can lead to unnecessary suffering. When we understand that change is an inevitable part of life, we can begin to let go of this need to control, allowing life to unfold more naturally. A practical way to apply this understanding of impermanence in daily life is by practicing acceptance and letting go of attachment. For instance, if a relationship changes or ends, instead of clinging to the past or trying to force it to remain the same, we can acknowledge that this is a natural part of life's cycle. By accepting this change, we can move forward with greater peace and openness to new experiences. This doesn't mean that we stop caring about outcomes or that we don't work towards our goals. Instead, it means that we do so with an awareness that things may not always turn out the way we expect. By embracing impermanence, we can approach life with more flexibility and resilience, adapting to changes as they come rather than fighting against them. Ultimately, understanding the law of impermanence allows us to live with less fear and more freedom. It teaches us to appreciate the present moment, knowing that it is fleeting, and to let go of the need to control the future. In doing so, we align ourselves with the natural rhythm of life, experiencing greater harmony and inner peace. Number 2, practice non-attachment. Another vital principle in Buddhism is the practice of non-attachment, known as vairagya. Non-attachment doesn't mean disengaging from life or not caring about anything. Rather, it's about cultivating a sense of inner freedom by not clinging to things, people, or outcomes. When we become too attached, we often try to force situations to meet our desires, leading to unnecessary stress and struggle. Non-attachment teaches us to experience life fully without being overly dependent on how things turn out. Attachment frequently leads to a compulsion to control or manipulate circumstances in our favor. We might push harder to make things happen the way we want, whether it's in relationships, careers, or personal goals. This desire to force outcomes is rooted in fear. Fear of loss, fear of change, or fear of the unknown. However, when we practice non-attachment, we free ourselves from these fears, allowing life to unfold naturally without the constant need to intervene. By embracing non-attachment, we open ourselves up to greater peace and freedom. We begin to realize that true happiness doesn't come from holding on to specific outcomes, but from accepting whatever comes our way with equanimity. This doesn't mean we stop caring or stop striving. It means we learn to do so without the anxiety of needing things to turn out a certain way. In this way, non-attachment becomes a powerful tool for living a life of balance and contentment. For instance, imagine you're working hard toward a particular goal. If you're too attached to the outcome, you might push yourself to the point of exhaustion, trying to force things to happen exactly as you envision. But if you practice non-attachment, you can still pursue your goal with passion and dedication, while also remaining open to whatever results may come. This approach not only reduces stress, but also allows you to adapt more easily to unexpected changes. Ultimately, practicing non-attachment leads to a life of greater ease and harmony. It frees us from the burden of trying to control everything and allows us to move through life with a sense of grace and acceptance. By letting go of our attachments, we create space for new possibilities and experiences to enter our lives, often in ways we could never have imagined. Number 3, embrace patience and timing. In Buddhism, the practice of patience, or kshanti, is highly valued as a virtue that brings peace and wisdom. Patience is not just about waiting. It's about cultivating a deep understanding that everything in life has its own natural timing. Often, we become impatient when things don't happen according to our expectations, leading us to force situations prematurely. However, by embracing patience, we learn to trust that everything will unfold when the time is right, without the need for unnecessary pressure or force. Forcing things disrupts the natural flow of life, causing stress and resistance. When we try to make things happen before they're ready, we may face obstacles and frustrations that could have been avoided by simply waiting for the right moment. In Buddhism, patience is seen as a way to align ourselves with the natural rhythm of life. It teaches us to step back, observe, and allow events to develop in their own time, rather than rushing to control the outcome. In practical terms, embracing patience means recognizing when it's better to pause and wait rather than push forward. For example, if you're working on a project or pursuing a goal, there may be moments when progress seems slow or stalled. Instead of becoming frustrated and trying to force things to move faster, patience allows you to take a breath, reassess, and trust that the process is unfolding as it should. This approach often leads to more sustainable and fulfilling results. Waiting for the right moment can make all the difference in achieving success and maintaining peace of mind. When we act with patience, we're more likely to make decisions that are well considered and in harmony with our true intentions. This doesn't mean we become passive or inactive. Rather, it's about taking mindful, deliberate actions at the right time, rather than reacting impulsively or out of impatience. Ultimately, embracing patience and timing leads to a life that flows more smoothly and naturally. By trusting in the process and allowing things to develop at their own pace, we reduce stress and open ourselves up to opportunities that might have been missed if we had tried to force things. In this way, patience becomes a key to living a life of balance, contentment, and wisdom. Number 4, cultivate mindfulness and awareness. Mindfulness, known as sati in Buddhism, is the practice of being fully present and aware in each moment. This awareness is key to recognizing when we are trying to force things in our lives. Often we get so caught up in our desires and expectations that we unconsciously push against the natural flow of life. Mindfulness helps us to notice these tendencies as they arise, allowing us to step back and choose a more balanced and peaceful approach. When we practice mindfulness, we become more attuned to our thoughts, emotions, and actions. This heightened awareness helps us identify when we are acting out of a need to control or force a situation. For example, if we find ourselves feeling anxious or frustrated because things aren't going our way, mindfulness allows us to observe these emotions without being overwhelmed by them. By simply acknowledging these feelings, we can pause and consider whether our actions are in harmony with the present moment or if we are trying to impose our will on something that isn't ready to unfold. There are several techniques to cultivate mindfulness and reduce the impulse to force outcomes. One effective method is to practice mindful breathing, where we focus on our breath as it moves in and out of the body. This simple practice can ground us in the present moment, helping to calm the mind and ease the urge to control. Another technique is to regularly check in with ourselves throughout the day, asking, "Am I trying to force something right now?" This question can serve as a gentle reminder to let go of the need to control and instead trust the natural flow of life. Meditation plays a crucial role in fostering a mindful approach to life. Through meditation, we learn to sit with our thoughts and emotions without reacting to them. This practice strengthens our ability to remain present and aware, even in challenging situations. Over time, meditation helps us develop a deeper sense of inner calm and clarity, making it easier to recognize when we're trying to force things and to choose a more mindful response. By cultivating mindfulness and awareness, we create a space where we can observe our impulses and make conscious choices rather than acting out of habit or fear. This approach not only reduces the stress that comes from trying to control life, but also allows us to live more fully in the present moment. Through mindfulness, we learn to embrace life as it is, trusting that everything will unfold in its own time and in its own way. Number 5. Trust in the natural flow of life. In Buddhism, the concept of going with the flow, often referred to as Wu Wei, emphasizes the importance of aligning ourselves with the natural rhythms of life. Wu Wei, which translates to non-doing or effortless action, encourages us to move through life without forcing or resisting. Instead of trying to control every aspect of our existence, this principle teaches us to trust in the universe and allow life to unfold as it's meant to. Trusting in the natural flow of life means letting go of the need to micromanage our circumstances. It's about recognizing that life has its own course, and that trying to push against it only creates unnecessary stress and conflict. When we surrender to the natural flow, we open ourselves up to the possibilities that life has to offer, many of which we might never have considered if we were too focused on forcing a particular outcome. This trust in the universe allows us to experience life more fully and with greater ease. Allowing life to unfold naturally requires a certain level of faith, not just in the external world, but in ourselves. It's about trusting that we have the inner strength and wisdom to navigate whatever comes our way, even if it's not what we initially planned. When we stop resisting and start flowing with life, we often find that things fall into place more effortlessly than when we try to force them. This doesn't mean we stop setting goals or making efforts. Rather, it means we approach life with a sense of openness and flexibility, allowing the journey to guide us. Surrendering to the natural flow of life leads to greater harmony and fulfillment. When we stop fighting against the current and start moving with it, we experience a sense of alignment with the world around us. This alignment brings a deep sense of peace and contentment, as we no longer feel the need to struggle or strive against the inevitable changes and challenges that life presents. By trusting in the flow, we learn to appreciate the beauty of life's unfolding, even when it takes us in unexpected directions. Ultimately, trusting in the natural flow of life is about embracing the wisdom of letting go. It's about understanding that life is a dynamic, ever-changing process, and that our role is not to control it, but to participate in it with grace and presence. When we trust in the flow, we open ourselves to a life of greater ease, joy, and fulfillment, knowing that everything is happening exactly as it should. Conclusion. As we journey through life, the wisdom of Buddhism teaches us to let go of the need to force, control, or resist. By understanding impermanence, practicing non-attachment, embracing patience, cultivating mindfulness, and trusting in the natural flow, we align ourselves with the deeper rhythms of existence. These principles not only bring us peace, but also open the door to a more harmonious and fulfilling life. So, as you move forward, remember to let go, trust the process, and allow life to unfold as it's meant to, effortlessly and naturally.